pure gaping. Sort of going to. Welcome, Darcy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming and joining us at the good room in the Flax. Fantastic room. How far have you travelled today?
Well, not that far because I'm actually from Bellaghy, so like it's very close. I think Bellaghy's only like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
away.
I'm a Lavy man, so we could have car shared.
I know, exactly. Save the fuel.
He's a terrible driver.
How
would it be? Someone picking you up and picking him up.
That would be handy. Right? No, I would have got a pint then.
Have you ever listened to the podcast before?
I've listened to bits and pieces, but I'm trying to keep myself wanted to come into it with fresh ears.
I don't know if you should have done that.
Yeah.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
We'll see. I might regret that decision in 2 hours.
No, we'll be fine. Don't worry. No, very
Ambush.
good. Ambush. Paparazzi. So we actually do a quick fire. Mm-hmm. So quick fire is just loads of random questions. They don't make any sense at all. It's kind of like a psychiatrist throwing up things and you just say whatever comes to your mind. But you get a choice though.
Okay.
You get a choice, okay?
Yeah.
So we'll get into the
quick fire. I feel like I'm in the chase or something.
You win nothing.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Dog or cat?
Oh God. I'm probably a bit weird. I like both. Oh God, dogs maybe?
Yep.
But I do like cats. I actually really love cats.
Dog's correct.
Dog is correct.
Budgie or hamster?
Hamster, probably.
Yep. That's right. Book or audio book?
Oh, book. Has to be a hard copy book, personally.
Fair enough. Pencil or pen?
Pen? Even though I probably should use a pencil because like my handwriting is terrible, but it's pens.
Night or day?
Day.
I should have been hot.
I know. You read it cold or hot?
Cold or hot? Cold or hot?
Oh God, this is real quick fire round, isn't it? Cold. I'd rather be too cold than too warm, I think.
agree.
At least you can adjust. You can't really adjust if you're too warm,
Yes,
like you're done.
Fair enough. Lily or daffodil?
Oh, I like lilies.
Orchid or sunflower?
Probably orchids.
Begonia or rose?
I don't even know what a begonia
I don't know
is.
I was running out of flowers. I had to look up flowers.
I'll go rose because I know what that actually looks like.
TV show or film?
Probably TV show.
More of a TV kind of.
Yeah, well, I'm one of these people. I'm definitely a comfort watcher. Like, I have a habit of watching the same program like over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, probably TV show.
What's your comfort TV show then?
Castle. It's like an American, like it would be Castle. Yeah, Bones as well. I love Bones.
Oh.
Even though it shouldn't be Criminal Minds, it's definitely not a comfort program because it's quite a disturbing program. But I
easy watch though.
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of them and I've rewatched a lot of them. So yeah, any type of like procedural kind of crime drama seems to be.
Do you like all the like thrillers and kind of puzzles and crime and that sort of stuff?
It depends. Like, I'm not a big horror fan. I can't really sit through horror movies. I would love to pretend and be like, oh yeah, don't faze me, but like I can't sit through horror movies for love nor money.
I'm too jumpy.
Yeah, literally same. But yeah, no, thriller, TV, procedural kind of crime dramas are my thing, I think.
We've stuff coming up here actually about that.
Did we ruin that for you, John?
You might as well cut the podcast. Film genre. Favorite?
I'm a bit of a stickler for rom-coms. I have seen a lot. Don't even know. I'm scared to admit it. I do love a good rom-com, especially
Hallmark or
like
is that too cheesy?
More like 10 things I hate about you. Love a good
Great
10 things
show.
I hate about you. Say Nothing, Jukebox Scene. Love that movie. But yeah, it would probably be like 80s rom-coms. I've seen a lot of them.
Yes,
and
class.
80s,
Sleepless in
90s
Seattle.
rom-coms. Yes, I've seen a lot of them. And then don't really watch apocalypse kind of stuff because it kind of freaks me out. I watch on apocalypse based and then I'm like, I really don't feel like I can sleep for like 2 or 3, so I don't really tend to watch stuff like I literally couldn't watch The Walking Dead. I watched 3 of them in a row and then I went, oh God, this is a bit too...
I'm actually the exact same.
Yeah, it's a bit too realistic.
It went on too long.
I don't like zombies. I don't know why. I just don't. I'm like, that couldn't happen. You know.
No, and then I'm like, but could it happen though?
Yeah.
And then I started to freak myself out. So yeah, probably rom-com, something light and easy.
As long as they're the slow zombies, we're grand. Mm-hmm. We can outrun them.
Yeah.
all the old people.
I will.
Okay. I've actually wrote comedy or romance here. So, comedy or romance.
Yeah.
Thriller or horror.
Definitely thriller, but again, it's 80s and 90s movies. Like I love Cape Fear. I think is a classic one. Taxi Driver, classic. There's one with Edward Norton and Richard Gere, and I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah,
it's like I can't remember the name. I'm gonna have to try and remember the name, but it's again actually a really good film. But yeah, 80s and 90s thrillers are definitely like up there in terms of the list.
Like Seven. You ever see Seven? Brad
Seven's so good.
Memento.
Memento is amazing.
Yeah.
What's the other films? I already said Seven. Have you ever seen Zodiac with Jake Gyllenhaal?
It was good.
No, I haven't actually seen that one. I've seen Natural Born Killers would be another one.
Yes.
Love.
Very good.
Wild at Heart. Love Wild at Heart. I literally have a Wild at Heart tattoo on my leg, so
You must like it.
Yeah. So yeah, any kind of 80s, 90s thrillers would definitely be up there, I think, or just really good classic 80s and 90s films.
Class.
Are definitely up there.
That's my favorite genre too. 80s, 90s is hard to beat, especially 80s.
Yeah.
There's like Roadhouse and Beverly Hills Cop and all that sort of stuff.
Any Nicolas Cage movies as well.
I just had to look up Wild at Heart. Have I not seen that?
What is it?
It's Nicolas Cage just looking.
Yeah.
Show me the photo.
Cage, great. Hold on, get the front.
Like I think
He's got the old head on him.
Yeah. I think the description of Wild at Heart is literally like Wizard of Oz on like LSD. Like that's literally. I think that's.
David Lynch.
Yeah,
I think I've
that's
seen
why.
it, yes.
Yeah, that's why. So that's
I've
why
seen
it's got that
clips of it.
description.
Aye.
It's one of my favorites. I
Nicolas
absolutely
Cage is
love it.
terribly good.
No, he's so good. He's fantastic.
Do you remember Face Off though?
Oh, brilliant.
What's the one based on Alcatraz as well?
Was Nicolas Cage in it?
Yes, he is.
It's
What's it called?
The one with the
The wee ball.
chemicals.
Aye.
Yeah, the way chemical.
The Rock.
Yeah,
The
love
Rock.
that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He's a terrible actor, but
Did you
he's
start Nicolas Cage?
but he's so good.
He's so good.
I'm confused.
Con Air.
Con Air.
Con Air.
Amazing.
But yeah.
Push and 10 artists. He's in Push and 10.
His recent movies are
Unbelievable.
really good.
I've heard that.
I need to watch the one. It's got Pedro Pascal in it. It's like literally.
Have you not seen it? It's so good.
I need to watch it. That is one I need to watch.
That's the one that's got the meme where
Yeah.
they're in the car and they're
Yes, and they're looking at each
smiling.
other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Sci-fi or mystery?
I don't really see sci-fi films kind of freak me out. Like any of the alien films, the body horror genre like is just not for
Not for
me.
you.
Like it makes me feel a bit ill. So probably what was the second option?
Mystery.
Mystery.
Anything but sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I like some sci-fi films, but like just the body horror sci-fi films.
I'd be
Not for
similar.
me.
I'm not really fussed on going into the alien side of things
No.
and the Predator. I don't even care for Predator like either.
No.
I like. Shut up, you.
I know.
Beans or tomatoes?
Probably beans,
Bacon or sausages?
bacon.
Soda bread or potato bread?
I actually don't like soda bread, so I'm gonna. And I actually don't like potato bread either.
What? What are you taking your fry? No bread
What are you doing with
then?
your
Well,
fry?
I either take like toast or wheaten bread, but I don't take potato
Oh,
bread or
okay.
soda bread.
Wheaten bread,
They're
I
not my
can-
favorite.
You should have took one of them. Tray bake or a slice of cake?
Slice cake. Why not?
Chinese or pizza?
Oh, Chinese, 100%.
Indian or chippy?
Indian. I love Indian food. It's like one of my like top tier, like
Indian's
best
class.
type of takeout foods, or even just like sit in restaurant foods.
Yeah.
Like,
Fantastic.
it has to be an Indian. Anytime there's an occasion, my mum's like, "Where do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Where do you think I want?" to
Taj.
Taj or Marfil?
Yeah, basically every time.
What do you get?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
We have a question.
Yeah.
This might be included in it, so just to stop you. So we do a thing called the mega menu,
Right.
if you haven't heard of it. So the mega menu is you pick a starter, a main, and a dessert from around the area. You're in Bellaghy, so you can pick around the Bellaghy area, Marfelt, Castle, all those areas. And you get to pick a starter, you get to pick a main,
Yeah.
pick a dessert from any of the eateries, and just
okay.
form your own mega menu. So starter from one place, it could be a main from somewhere else, could
Right.
be it could be a side from somewhere else, it could be a
Okay.
dessert from here, ice cream from there, sauce from there. And you have to create your own mega menu that would be your actual meal.
Right.
Go with a starter first.
Tandoori king prawns.
Where's this from?
Nice.
Probably out of Taj. Like this is what this Indian, like it's the only Indian really that I get out of in Morfelt is like Taj. So yeah, it would be tandoori king prawns, and I do love like dirty fries as well. I know whoever what's the pizza place? Is it
Notorious?
Yeah, I think me and my friend went into it, and they had like these these like and they were really nice. Yeah, so any type of like dirty fries, I think always taste nice. And then tandoori king prawns would be the big one. I just think I love
Are
them.
they for a starter? Starter.
Yeah.
Right. What's your main?
Probably a vindaloo or what's the other one? What is the other one now? I let you get Indian so much, and now I can't remember the name of anything. Vindaloo or any just hot curry, basically.
Yeah, you're going hot there.
Yeah, any hot curry in general.
I had the vindaloo in Taj, and it was lovely. Don't get me wrong, but I couldn't
hot.
finish it. It was spicy,
Hot.
like it was hot.
It is hot. But yeah, any type of like hot curry, and then like they have that really nice rice. It's like the red and
Aye, the
Pilu.
We're all saying this wrong.
I know. I'm going to attempt
You
to pronounce it.
Asian.
No, I'm going to attempt it. And then it has to be some naan bread, like really nicely made. Like
What naan bread?
the garlic one, I think is quite nice.
Garlic,
Yeah, garlic naan bread.
Peshwaris came up here quite a bit.
Everyone loves the peshwari. Especially if I was going to get vindaloo, I'd get peshwari. That would.
Do you know naan bread has been mentioned in this podcast
So many times.
Nearly every episode, even when we're not talking about.
I also love a good steak and chips. I don't think you can beat a really well cooked steak.
Well, where would you get that from?
Dawson's in Castle Dawson
Aye.
is like top tier. It's a really, really nice restaurant. So yeah, it would be one of the two.
Yeah.
I'm really indecisive, so I'm
No,
bad
it's
at
fine.
choosing. But it would either be like a really nice hot curry or like steak and chips.
Yeah.
Deadly.
Very nice. Shout out to Stephen Hope in Dawson's. He's a friend of ours.
It's so good. We went into it not
It's
that
class.
long ago, and it was amazing. Like so
Some
nice.
lovely stuff in it. Your dessert?
I don't actually know. I
Are
like
you much of a dessert person?
I would take it if I'm in. Like I like sorbet. I know sorbet is technically meant to be like a palate cleanser.
I wouldn't even.
Yeah, it is, actually
Did you not know
is.
that?
This is an informative
Yeah.
podcast.
It's actually I think you're actually meant to
heard
eat
that.
sorbet between, and
Yeah,
it's meant to
yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
cleanse your
cleanse
palate.
That
It's
is a
kind of
cleanser.
like the wee bits of pickled ginger and sushi and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like eat that with every bite of sushi.
I love that
I
stuff.
love that shit too, yeah.
Or like, what's the wee salad thing they have in sushi? It's like, is it like a seaweed thing?
Nori is the seaweed like.
Is it the leaf?
No, it's not a leaf. It's like a wee like a seaweed salad thing. I had it recently when I was
just some bit of
sushi.
salad,
It was beautiful. It was like pickle.
Well, if you don't know, we don't know.
I'm gonna have to ask Katrina. She was the one
We're gonna have
that
to ask,
brought me
we're gonna have
there.
to ask somebody. Are you going with sorbet or?
a sticky toffee pudding I quite like. And then really any type of cake. If it's, do you want to know what it is? I always do this thing where I'm like, right, I'll go into a restaurant and I'll only get I'm like, right, I'll only get like a starter and a main. I won't do it, like I'll end up too full, and then by the end of it I'm like, friggin', I'm here anyway.
Aye.
I might as well, like
Always
I'm here
room.
anyway, so I
There's
might
always
as well. Yeah, exactly. So even though like literally I went out for dinner one time, and like me and my boyfriend out for dinner, and we were both so kind of dumb by the end of it that I just laid in bed for about 3 hours because I had
Aye.
ate so much food that I
It's
was
the best
like,
thing to do.
yeah, I was done. Like, so I do have a habit of doing that where I go to a restaurant and I'm like done by the end of it. I'm like, no, I just need to like sleep.
Yeah, that's the thing with weddings. I always find as well.
Oh yeah.
You need like a 2-hour lull to kind of get yourself back
Up
into
to bed,
Mm-hmm.
sober up and come down
and
again.
come
Yeah.
down and start drinking again.
With a tie in your head.
That's it.
3 people at your dinner table. So I don't know if you've heard this question before, but it's you have your ultimate dinner table. You want to
Yeah.
invite people from the past, from present. They could be dead, they could be living. But 3 people, you like. If I was to have a dinner table and sit down with 3 people, who would it be?
Oh, pressure.
This is a hard question.
It's a difficult one. I think,
question.
well, David Lynch first off, because I just really like David Lynch's work in general, like all of his films and his TV shows in general.
Interesting character.
Yeah, I think he's fascinating. So definitely David Lynch, because I would just like to pick his brains about his work and what he's done. Who would be the second one? Maybe
You're not a Swiftie, are you?
it actually wouldn't be Taylor Swift. I'm not even going to say anything because I don't want the wrath of Swifties
I know.
coming at me.
Come,
Yeah.
Cut it.
I'll take the heat. You just come after me. I am very happy. You just come
Don't let them come after the
No,
podcast.
that's kind of getting,
after- Shut us down.
Gonna get the podcast cancelled.
I know.
let me see. So, well, David Lynch. Maybe like Albert Einstein. Because again, like just how to even be that smart. Like how's that
Yeah.
even? Again, I just would love to pick his brains and understand how you even begin to think of the things that he thought of. I think it'd be really interesting. And I'm trying to think who would be the third one. Actually, don't know. I can only think of two. I can only think of David Lynch and Albert Einstein.
You can come back.
Yeah,
You come back.
I'll come back to it at the end.
Michael came back at the very end. He
Aye.
found
So funny.
it
Oh,
was hilarious.
Woody Harrelson.
Oh, great answer.
Deadly.
Great
Yeah.
answer.
He hasn't been said yet.
No,
Very
again,
good.
because he just seems brilliant. Like
He's a
I
cool
know
dude.
he's
Love
a bit
Woody
mad, but
Harrelson.
like he just seems absolutely amazing. So yeah, he would also be on the list.
I think I get on really well with Woody.
Well,
Just saying.
You look like an Aldi version of him.
I know. I'm a Wish version of Woody Harrelson.
Sure,
Aldi version.
him and Matthew McConaughey are apparently related.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They
they,
didn't know. Sure they didn't.
No.
no, didn't know. But when you look at photos of them together,
You can kinda see
You can
it.
absolutely see
They
it.
didn't know.
No, they didn't. They had no idea.
It was
Sounds a
foreign-
bit-
I think it was like a foreign adopted thing or something.
Must have been very far out.
No, I think they're half siblings.
They're like half siblings. Like,
Yeah.
They were both
Oh,
like,
shit.
Adopted in a different family.
God.
Yeah, they're half
Yeah.
siblings.
Be looking that up
I
later.
wonder, did they know before they did that Deadly TV show? Did you watch that?
Oh,
True
True
Detective.
Detective.
Season.
First season, amazing.
One of the best shows
It is
ever.
brilliant.
I must
But
watch
see,
that again.
I really like Matthew McConaughey because he actually managed to get out of the rom-com trope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very hard to do.
Very
Once
hard.
you get typecasted as an actor,
I know.
like you are done. It's very difficult. So I was like, fair play. Like he managed to get out.
I
Not,
listened to his
and do all
audiobook.
that.
It was brilliant.
yeah.
It was class because he was
Put you to
narrating it.
sleep, like,
He was narrating it in that voice.
Such a sexy,
What a
like,
legend.
is it Texan, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's from Texas.
Class, like, very, very good. Is Harrelson not, was his father not like an assassin or a hitman?
Yes,
or
that's
something?
right.
Yeah. He's got a mad family story as well. Like.
Mental. We should get him on the podcast. tell him to bring his half sibling.
Oh, I'll message him here.
Woody, it's the Aldi version here.
Woody, it's me. He'll know.
Rose of Tralee, the year the Rose of Tralee festival started.
God. Is it like 1964 or something? Am I really far off?
You're not too
Not far
far.
away.
Is it? Am I
What
higher?
a terrible question.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
62?
Lower.
59?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Got it.
You knew rightly. You
Yeah.
knew rightly.
That was such a gotcha
We'll have
question.
to cut that so the Rose of Tralee don't see it.
Do you want to do it again?
Probably another.
Ask the question.
Yeah, ask me again.
And we'll just cut that in.
Slice it up and make it look like I answered them at the
I'll
same
just
time.
voice it in. Mime it. First Rose to win the first title. To be honest, I didn't know this before today.
That's not surprising, man. I don't think anybody in the population would know that.
Apart from
I'm
yourself.
gonna guess a county, Dublin.
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Very good.
Go me.
Nice.
Dublin's correct.
Happy days.
So the Dubs get everything. Alice O'Sullivan. There you go. The year after it was the first year it was like a festival, and then the year after it was a festival with an actual Rose of
Yeah.
Tralee.
You said there's a picture written on your
I
Word document. Do you have a
actually.
picture?
Thank you, Fergal.
Because I'd love to see that.
It's not often you remind me. Very surprised you remind me. Actually, sorry for.
Wow, look at her.
Yeah, is that the first winner of it?
That's class.
Isn't that cool?
Is that the trophy?
I'd ice him into that. Here we go. Can I ice him in?
You can.
There we go. There she is
Oh, she's
herself.
beautiful.
We'll throw that up on the edit. Everybody be able to see it at home.
That's so cool.
There you go. She's a big globe on her. Look at the globe and all.
I actually don't know if you get a trophy now.
You
I
get a
actually
trophy,
don't know.
no?
I don't know what you get, actually.
You definitely get a crown, don't you?
I don't know. I think they might have took that away.
Why?
I'm not sure. I think they might have took that away. I think
that's
they
kind
haven't
of the
done
point,
that
isn't
last
it?
couple
It was
of
maybe
years.
it was maybe crossing into pageantry with the crown. Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
There you go. See you later, Alice.
Very interesting. Good job, John. Good job on the research.
Oh, thanks, Fergal. It's always good to hear from you. Origin story, Darcy. Was going to be. That's a quick fire over. That's probably one of the quickest quick fires we've done in a while.
That was good too.
It's very good. Origin story. So this is a tough one, but first memory. Earliest memory.
Earliest memory. See, it's quite weird. Like I actually don't remember that much from the likes of primary school. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, you see, like primary school, and even till I was like 14, probably by 14, I actually don't really have like the clearest
I have terrible memory too.
memories. Like I think really the first, I remember going to France like with my family when we were all like really, really young, and I think the only reason I remember that is because my dad obviously had like a sat nav when we went to France, and he went to go to the bathroom, and me and my brother thought it would be hilarious if we turned the sat nav into like this French lady. So like we went in and like we changed the settings. So like he started to drive, not knowing like where he's meant to be, and all of a sudden you just hear this like on the sat nav, and he's sitting like French traffic is insane. Like French traffic is mad. Like it's so bad. So he's like sitting trying to like driving, but then also being like, what have you done to this? And then me and Jake were like sitting laughing, and then he was like, you two need to fix this, and then we couldn't get it back to like the setting it was on before, so we had to pull in and spend about an hour, I think, getting it back to like the English setting as well. And we stayed in France for like a good not good, but probably stayed in France for about a week. But yeah, that was probably my like earliest memory, really. Like I think it's really hard. Like I don't think anybody really remembers like
some people on this podcast get like really like
there was one
that was like 2-year-old. Do you remember?
Oh no,
there was one. I know there's some that are the same as you, and there was someone Eilish music. She do you remember how early hers was like in my cot being given milk?
Singing to her, that's right.
So Eilish was on the podcast a few episodes ago, and she's a singer.
Yeah.
And one of her first memories was her in her cot drinking milk and her mother singing to her. Isn't that crazy?
Mad. I don't know how you even remember that, or how you have a really clear vision of that. You know what I mean? Like it's quite muddy. Like it's not muddy necessarily, but like I just don't really remember. I don't really remember anything about primary school or even really secondary.
I'm similar. I don't remember too much, but that's the earliest one that I can remember was Eilish's that I remember. And then there's people that have had like not bad first memories, but a wee bit more like traumatic.
Like a broke a bone or something like
broke
that.
A bone or
I've grabbed the toaster or something.
Oh, yes. I have a friend, Kieran Neeson. Shout out to Kieran. He stuck his hand in a toaster.
Oh,
so he shouldn't do that. And there was another one that was amazing. I wasn't amazing. Remember Conor Marrons from 37 Jiu-Jitsu, where he explained in this real unique detail about him living in this caravan. The caravan was his family home for a while before they moved into a house. And he discussed how they were living and what they were doing and how they kind of had to live in a sense. What are you doing, Jude?
We're here doing
researching flowers. So we had you get an array of stuff similar to yourself.
No, so I have vague memories. My mum and dad built their own house, kind of same idea, and we moved into Bellaghy for like a good while actually, like in the town. And I do remember. Well, it's actually I think this happened in Bellaghy. My brother hit my wee brother with a hurling bat by accident. My wee brother was like behind him, and then my older brother but I can't even remember if that was like in Bellaghy or like the house that we're in now. But yeah, I wouldn't have the best, like not the best because nothing bad happened, but just I wouldn't have like the clearest memory of like being really younger. Like it just
can't be. It's not a bad thing either. I was gonna say, are you always been Bellaghy?
Yeah. I think so anyway, because we moved into our family home when I was about like 6, and then I would always remember kind of living in Bellaghy. My mum lived in Morfelton, they lived in Castledawson, and mum and dad lived in Belfast as well. But yeah, I think Bellaghy.
What about siblings?
So I have one older brother and one younger brother. So
middle?
Jake. Yeah, I'm the middle. I'm the only girl and like the middle child. So my oldest brother is 28, and then my younger brother is 3 years younger than me, so he's 25, 24, 22. Is that right? Have I done the math right?
If you're 25.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. That's right.
Cool. I know, I feel under pressure when I have to do math.
No, I'm terrible.
But yeah, so no, it was definitely, I mean, my brother's autistic and he got diagnosed when he was around 3. So that's kind of something that has always been in all of our lives since like a very young age. So I would have been 6 and he would have been 3. So you know, we've grown up around that like our entire lives basically, and I've seen kind of firsthand, I guess, the struggles of that as well. Like, don't get me wrong, like Finn's amazing and he's so funny, and the things that he comes out with are hilarious, and you wouldn't want them to be any other way, you wouldn't want them to be any different, but you see the struggle of it, like you see the lack of services, you see like you know, you see all of it, and that was obviously, you know, Finn's 22 now, so even think back then when he was younger, like then there was no support, same way now there's no support. So I think when you grow up with someone in your family that has like special needs or has additional needs, like I do think fundamentally it kind of changes you as a person a wee bit, because
you grow up a wee bit quicker.
Yeah, you grow up a wee bit quicker. You kind of, I think, treat people differently as well, because you know what it's like when people, you know, because Finn stims, I don't know if that's technically the right word you're meant to use now, but he'll like run up and down with his hands, and it's just his way of burning like excess energy.
Yeah.
But if we're out in public and he does that, he might bump into someone by accident, and you see them look around and you see them have this look of like that. And then once they realise he's got autism, they give him a second look of the same kind of look, but it's slightly different. And like that just annoys you, because you go, why? Like, why? Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it just does. I think when you have a younger sibling that needs extra care and extra attention, I do think fundamentally it kind of changes you a wee bit.
Yeah, such a lack of awareness to the general public as well.
Yeah, and I think it's become so much better. I think now we've become so much more aware of like neurodivergency and like what it means for people who are neurodivergent, whether that be autism, ADHD, Asperger's, anything like that. But there's still a long way to go. Like, and I think even when you look at something like autism, there's so much more studies done on boys than there is on girls.
Yeah.
There's such a lack of like the disparate.
That's because it's harder to pick up, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's harder.
well, girls tend to mask longer.
mask
so
it.
yeah, so and I mean, not all girls. Like, that's not an inherent case for every girl,
Yeah.
but a lot of girls end up getting diagnosed much later than boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know, you might have a girl who's 15 and doesn't know she's autistic because she's masked the whole time,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she gets a diagnosis at 15, when some boys get diagnoses at 3 or 4. So there's certain areas where definitely like things need to change and things needs to be better. But I do think people are becoming more aware, which is good.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only way
it's
to
sad,
do it.
like, because you mentioned the girls there maybe get diagnosed a wee bit later.
Yeah.
And they've been told for years they're being awkward and they're quiet
Yeah.
and they're being told this and been told
Yeah.
this, and it's very hard for them to shake that when they get a bit older.
Massively.
And I've looked into a lot of this stuff myself, and the adults as well. Your the age that your brother is now, there's less help for him now.
There's very few places
But
you can go.
if there's neurodivergency now and autism now, people young people are getting a lot more help than they are if they're hitting 18 and above.
Yeah, it's really, really hard, because you see it, because Finn's very particular about things and he only likes certain things.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, there's a really brilliant social forum that's actually just kind of, if you're coming out of Marfelt, it's kind of down that direction, and they're amazing and they're so good. But Finn doesn't like being outside.
Yeah.
He doesn't like, he likes his laptop, he likes his games, he likes, so something like that doesn't work for him. But then there's very little in the area. So if that doesn't work for him, it leaves him at a disadvantage. So I do think there needs to be more for older adults with learning difficulties, because they're not all the same. Like, they all like different things in the same way. Me and I like different things from you, and you like different things from me. You can't put everybody with autism, Asperger's, ADHD, put them all in the same lump and go, these are people are all going to like the same thing, because they're just not. That's just not inherently human. It's not inherently natural. But yeah, I think definitely the older he got, the more you saw the lack of stuff available, or the lack of things. He goes to Inspire in Marfelt, which is like a day program, and he loves it. Like, the guy Scott who works up there, he's amazing. Like, Finn doesn't really ask to go places, so when he does, Scott is just like, yep, immediately, right, let's go. And it's great for him because it gets him out as well. So there's stuff here, and it's really good that there's stuff here, but there definitely could be more, and I think there could be more in every situation, that kind of way.
Yeah, 100%. There's just such massive gaps, especially
huge.
in our country. It's unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
and I've been looking into years of projects I was doing in the past on it, and the gaps in it, and the generational problems with it. Like, it's shit. Like, but as long as it's getting better, at the same time.
Exactly.
Sibling school years. Primary school, secondary school, where did you go?
So I went to Anahorsh Primary School, and then I went to St. Pius's Secondary School. But I think the irony, I don't know if irony is the right word, but I was actually really quiet in school. Like, genuinely in primary school, I was so quiet, and they actually had to put me in like an advanced learning. Like, I had to be in this class for advanced reading and advanced like literacy, because my reading and my literacy were really behind everybody else. So I really struggled socially in primary school as well. Like, I was so awkward and I was so quiet, and I didn't really know how to make friends. And literally emergency.
What are you laughing at? Sorry,
How did that happen?
I said that on purpose. Sorry, Darcy.
No, you're
Sorry.
okay.
You continue.
She was deep in conversation, and then
I'll let you get started first.
why do you think that happened?
Let's just come off the thread. It's obviously going around. I think it was Fergal set that up.
Was it a strap? Gotcha.
Trying to set me up.
We should do that more often.
We
No,
should,
don't do
Yeah.
that.
We should
Booby
booby
trap,
Don't,
aye.
don't booby trap me.
Not to the guests, just to John.
I don't trust either of you boys.
something in the back there.
Don't trust either of you anymore. Sorry, Darcy.
What were we
continue.
talking about?
Grand. I'll let you get
Chatting
started
about
again.
Darcy, you were feeling a wee bit awkward
At
in
school.
primary school.
Yeah, and actually, it's quite funny because I was one of them kids that if you saw me in the playground, like I wouldn't be talking to our kids. I'd be like running up and down, making like my own imaginary like wee world. That's what I was
Playing
like.
the game.
And I remember actually really clearly my best friend now, who's still my best friend from the age of like P4, she had fallen out, I think, with two of her other friends and was like, I need a new friend. And saw me like in my own kind of wee world and came over and went, oh, like, do you want to be friends? And honestly, like, shout out to Nicole Duggan, because I actually think if she hadn't, I don't know what my social skills would have been like. If she hadn't just took that step
Just
and
that
been
step,
like,
yeah.
I actually don't know what my social skills would have been like, because
Wow.
she was like my first friend, and I was like P4, so I don't know what age you are in P4, but she was like my first friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have friends before that. I didn't talk to anybody in my class. Like, I didn't speak. So I think if she hadn't come over, I actually don't know socially what I would have been like. I think I would have really, especially going into secondary school, I would have struggled so much. And even in secondary school, I still wasn't particularly like,
I go in.
no, I was really geeky, like genuinely, like, and not in a bad way, but I loved books. I loved learning. I always had my head in a book. Like, I
Nice.
loved reading.
Favorite subject?
Drama. I love drama, and I really liked English as well, and I actually liked RE as well, but I just loved learning about like different, especially A-level. I did A-level RE, and I just really loved learning more.
You sound like you love just learning new
Yeah,
things constantly. 'Cause
yeah, all
the
the time.
people you mentioned at your dinner table were.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're doing, and Albert Einstein, give me all your knowledge, like.
Yeah, I think it's just inherent. I think because naturally, like, I work in media, and before that, I did a drama degree. I'm just naturally curious about how people think and how people's minds work, and I think a part of that as well, even when I was younger, was just being a bit more of a wallflower and people watching instead of kind of being the one to sort of like take up the space. I guess. So yeah, in school, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I had friends in school. I wasn't like in the bathroom, like reading a book, eating my lunch. It wasn't that, but I had a kind of smaller grip, and I found it really hard. Like, I just found it hard to make friends outside of that group in general. And then even like team sports, for example, I found them really difficult because it was just too much for me to be in a
many
team
people.
of like 10 or 12 or 13 people. It was just too much, and I just couldn't really do it. And so the Rose thing in a way is actually kind of like, it's surprising to a lot of people who probably knew me back in school, because like it probably seems like so out of left field, because like I just wasn't the one to like kind of step up. If I was doing something drama related and I was in character, that was different.
Yeah, really.
That was
It's your
different.
own wee world.
Exactly, and I'm playing a character, like, and it really was that. And then when I went to uni, it was the same. Like, uni, I kind of came out my shell a bit more, and it was a wee bit easier. But like, even in like when you step into a character, like, it's not you that people are looking at. Like, it's a character that they're looking at. So I didn't feel the same kind of fear and like anxiety, like speaking in front of a class as myself, as I did acting as a character in like a 50-minute play. There were
That's
two
crazy.
completely different things to me, and the character, I felt so much more comfortable like doing that. And the musical theatre singing exams, and again, like, if you ask me to sing just like myself and I get really, really, really nervous, and it like just really bad stage fright. But if I do like a musical theatre piece and I'm in character, I don't think about it as much.
Yeah. What's back then? Did you have much of a direction that you wanted to go in? You obviously enjoyed drama. Was acting, was singing your thing that you were like, I'm going to be an actress?
Yeah, not so much the singing. That's still something that gives me quite bad stage fright. But no, whenever I was in school, I really loved drama, and then I wanted to go to Queen's. So I went to Queen's. I did the interview at Queen's, and they had kind of went, yeah, you'll get a place. And I went, right, okay, great. Life's sorted. Don't need to worry about it. And then I got rejected.
Oh, of course.
Drama course.
Drama.
What? So they said you'll get in, but then
they basically give me, the good vibes. I was pretty sure. I was like, okay, right. I've got the results. Like, they seem really keen to like have me on the course, because like with that one, you went up and you met the lecturers, and everything seemed to go well. And then I got the email or like the letter through to go, oh, you haven't been accepted, and I was crushed. Like, I was so upset because all my friends got into the courses that they wanted to get into, and this was the one course I really wanted and I didn't get into. But actually it worked out better because I ended up studying drama in Bellaghy, which is a far, like, personal opinion, it's a bit of a better course, and it suited me better because it was so like practical, and I got to do like acting and directing and stage management. And if I had done the course at Queen's, you don't get to do that. It's a very theoretical, heavy academic
We've heard
course.
that from a few guests, actually.
Yeah, it's very,
it's not as much.
And that's not the worst. I don't mind writing essays. Like, that wouldn't have been the worst thing on the planet for me. But looking back now, I'm so glad that I didn't get into it, because what I did ended up suiting me and being so much better for me.
Learned more.
Oh, 100%. And then when I went and did, because basically I didn't know really what I knew I wanted to do something creative. I knew that for a fact. I was like, I'm not going to be like, I just knew in my head what I wanted. I wanted to be creative. I didn't know exactly what that meant and like what that was going to look like, but I just knew creativity. I needed to do something creative. It was just the way my brain worked. I had to do that. So then I went and got into the drama course at Bellaghy. Loved directing. Absolutely loved it. Like, just adored it. And then after the course ended, I was like, right, I love drama and I loved creativity, but I also want to be able to like live and make a living doing something creative. It's very hard to do that in theatre, like especially here. Yeah. So I was like, right, I'd always had an interest in media. I went to do cinematic arts as an A-level, and then I couldn't do it because it clashed with like the drama. So I always had an interest in doing the media. So that's then when I went to Queen's, they accepted me this time. And I did their masters in media and broadcast production. And then from that kind of got into sort of the TV media industry. So I think in an odd roundabout way, what I'm doing now is what I was meant to do. I just didn't know it. Like, at the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When I left school, I didn't know that this is what I was going to do. But I think at the end, it was probably actually the right thing. I just didn't know it like at the time, because when you're 19, like, you don't know what you're doing.
It's so difficult for people to know what they want to do.
Oh, insane.
It's crazy.
Insane.
But it sounds like you went through a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Of discovery
100%.
and
100%. It was very kind of sort of snaky, kind of like, but that is what it is with creative industries. And I do think it is very, and this isn't to scare people, because I think if you want to go into creative industries, like, do it. It's an amazing industry to work in, and it's so good. But it is very different from becoming a teacher, for example. It's very different from becoming a nurse. It's very different from becoming these careers where you have like a very sort of like...
very structured.
Yeah, it's very structured. Like, you do your degree, you get your PGCE.
Full-time job?
Full-time job.
No, I was going to say, whenever you're in those you mentioned those roles there, you're straight into full-time jobs.
Oh.
But whenever you're in the likes of media and the creative industries, you're working on year contracts, 6-month contracts. You don't know how long you're going to be in some of the roles.
No,
which is nerve.
It's stressful, like,
nerve-wracking. Like.
And like, for me personally, my longest contract has been 8 months.
Yeah.
That's my long, and my shortest contract, it was originally meant to be 3 months, and then I've kind of been kept getting extended. So the contract lengths are mostly 3 to 8 months, or 9 months maybe at the most. But like that's stressful. Like, so I don't ever want to put anyone off doing anything creative or working in the creative industries, because it's great and you get to experience so many things you wouldn't get to. But I do think, you have to have a certain kind of like, right, I'm going to have to accept it. There's going to be lull periods. There's going to be periods where I don't know what I'm doing. And if you can accept that, then you're going to love it. But if that's something that you think you're going to struggle with, it's probably not the best. I mean, it's the same with acting. Like, I liked acting, but I didn't love acting. It wasn't like my every single breath. And I think actually, was it Emilia Clarke said a really good line where she was like, if you can't see yourself doing anything else than acting, be an actor. But if there's anything in your brain that is telling you, I could probably do that instead, go with that. Like, do you know what I mean? Acting, all these creative jobs are so hard to do,
so hard to get,
and they're so hard to stay at, that it has to be the thing. Because if it's not, it is difficult. It is really difficult. But
you need to be 100% in.
Exactly.
And you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially with 9-month contracts, rejection for your work, your ideas, your creativity, like, and
exactly.
it's nuts.
Like, I couldn't do anything else.
No.
like, I know I couldn't do anything else. Also, I'm not qualified to do it. All my degrees are like creativity related. They're all degrees like that are technically Mickey Mouse degrees. You know, them.
Because I was about to say the government won't fund the creative arts properly, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, all my first degree is definitely what people would consider a Mickey Mouse degree. Even probably my master's, some people would still consider it a Mickey Mouse degree. But I think, with any, like, in my head, and the way I see it is like someone could go and do like environmental law, for example. If they don't go and then use that environmental law degree, you could class that as a Mickey Mouse degree.
100%.
It's the person that's the Mickey Mouse.
It's
not
yeah.
the degree. Like.
Literally, if you go in and you do a degree, and especially in the creative arts, like, if you go in and you do that degree and you do everything and you sign yourself up for all the extracurricular activities and you put your heart and your soul into it and you come out of it, you should be able to find a job. It may be a bit tricky, but you should be able to. It's not the degree, like you say, it's not the degree. It's, you know, are you have the right mindset to do it? And that applies to all degree. That applies to nursing, that applies to law. It doesn't matter what degree it is. So I don't like when people call drama a Mickey Mouse degree, because I'm like, well, it just depends how much you want to put into it. That's a personal decision. That's the person. That's not the whole degree.
You're kind of in the room with Mickey Mouse degrees anyway.
Yeah, basically.
Looking
We're all
around.
Mickey Mouse degrees.
Up here.
100%.
We're doing okay.
We're doing okay.
Yeah.
We're doing okay.
Sometimes you eat a lot.
Welcome, Darcy.
Sometimes you eat a lot of
Welcome to the
noodles,
club.
but it's fine. Like, I like noodles.
Yeah, and it's good. Like, and some people kind of say, "Oh, like, how do you deal with the uncertainty?" Like, for me, I've been really lucky. I think I've been in this, like, in the media industry, like, widely speaking, radio and TV. I think I've been in the industry for about 2 years, and the only lull period I've had has been about like 4 weeks, and that was that was a conscious decision. I wanted to take a few weeks off from going from one contract to another, so that was like a conscious decision.
You didn't start looking.
No, I had started already at that point sending applications, but I was like, right, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'll send in these applications and then I'll see. And then Rip Off Britain got back to me and I went over to Manchester. But like, that's the only time I've had like a lull, and even at that wasn't that long. Like, so I've just been quite lucky, and I think it's been a mix of being lucky and doing hard work. I've been very kind of lucky that I haven't had any moment where I'm like, I'm not going to find a job.
It's definitely hard luck. It's not hard work. It's definitely hard work. It's not luck. Like, I stopped believing in luck years ago.
There's a
tiny
right
bit of
place
luck.
at the right
There
time.
is.
Destiny.
There is.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Right
Destiny.
place at the right time.
I agree. Right place, right time. But you don't
It's being ready
you
for
don't
those.
get there without doing 95% of the hard work. Like, and that's what people don't realize sometimes. And they think, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. There's behind the scenes is where the real work happens.
Yeah.
Like.
And it comes from rejection. I mean, literally, getting rejected from Queen's was the best thing that could have happened to me. Easy. And then my start in this industry, my start working in TV, working in radio, I got rejected. Like, I went for the Channel 4 scheme, went to the interview, thought this is great. And then I got the email to say I was rejected, cried for about a week, like you do when you really want someone and you get rejected. And then one of the girls from Think Bigger, who Channel 4 work with to deliver that, rang me and went, Darcy, we really liked you. Do you want to work for an indie for 8 months? For a month? And I went, yeah, 100%. So then I went into this indie, and they had done this, they were doing a pitch for BBC 3, sorry. So they were doing this pitch for BBC 3, and I loved BBC 3 growing up.
Class.
I was obsessed with BBC 3 growing up. So then they showed me, like a sizzle, which is obviously just like the wee short video that you have in a pitch, yeah. So they showed me that, and I started being like, that edit there's a wee bit, like you could have edited a wee bit smoother, this and that. Me started going on all this, and they're like, Darcy, we're showing this in an hour's time, and I went... I was like, okay.
Foot in mouth.
I was like, I take back absolutely everything that I just said. But then they were like, Darcy, do you want to come to this actual meeting? Do you want to come to the pitch? And I went, yes, of course, absolutely. So we go into the BBC building in Belfast, and I sit down. I've got like my producers on one side off me. I've got the development producer on another side. And then I've got like, someone from BBC 3. I've got someone from NI Screen, like, big kind of names in sort of the Northern Ireland, TV scene. And I'm sitting there like not saying anything, because obviously you go to these things, you don't speak, you just listen. And then, towards the end, it was basically, it's out in BBC 3 if you want to watch it. It's Hunting the Catfish Crime Gang.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So it basically James, the guy who presents
Blake.
it. Yeah, so the guy who presents it, they were like, oh, we don't know if people are going to relate to him. This is what the people in the meeting were saying. Like, we don't know if we're going to relate to him. Like, are people going to relate? And in my brain, I was like, Darcy, like, at this point, I was maybe like 22 or 23. I was like, you're literally their target audience. Like, I was their, like, that is channel BBC Three's target audience between 16 and 24, I think. And I was like, right, Darcy, just say it. Just say what's on your brain. So at this point, everyone's packing their bags up, like, ready to go. And my poor wee voice, really shaky, is like, I've got something to say. Excuse me. Yeah, it came out so shaky. And, like, my heart was going at 90. And I was like, oh, I think people would relate to him. Like, I'm in your age graphic, like, your age demographic. I've watched 3 programs that were kind of around the same idea. That sort of, like, internet scam kind of idea. And I was like, I feel like he's someone that I can meet out in a night in secret. Like, you know, just basically saying, I think that, you know, audiences at my age at the time would have related to him. But it didn't make my voice shake the entire time. Like, I was like, oh my God. And then I walked out and, like, everyone's head just, like, swiveled. Like, everyone on the team just swiveled, because I think they were probably thinking, please don't you say anything that's going to, like, cost us this commission, because it was super competitive. Loads of indies in Belfast were in for it. So then we walked out, and one of the producers was like, you know what, fair play. Like, fair play for saying that. I think he was just glad I didn't say anything really, like, dumb or, like, stupid. But then I was only meant to be in that production company for, like, a month, and then that got commissioned, and they came to me and went, stay on for until it's done. And Brilliant. So like, the way I got into it was I got rejected from something that I really, really, really wanted. But actually, it worked out better because I didn't have to do a trainee scheme. I just went straight in at a researcher level. I didn't have to do any, and, like, even now I wouldn't mind if I had to do a trainee scheme. Like, I have no problem doing trainee schemes, but I didn't have to. Like, I was able to go straight in as a researcher instead of having to do that. So yeah, I mean, like, that's what it is as well. I think it's a really hard industry where you can get rejected so many times. But again, the rejection sometimes is actually the thing that can get you noticed. Yeah. They go, you weren't right for this, but we have your name, we have your contact details, we'll use you for this instead. And I think that's one thing I always want to try and tell people is, like, yeah, it's hard and yeah, you get rejected, but sometimes the best things can come out of rejection as well. So you have to have a very resilient attitude, I think, to the whole industry. 100%. But just, I mean, like, I've always said this, and I will say this, and I will die on this hill, it is as hard to work in the creative industry as it is to be a nurse. Yeah, it's as hard to, like, get into nursing, to finish your nursing degree, to find a nursing placement, to work full time as a nurse. That is just as difficult as, like, what I do on, like, a daily, the journey. It's just as difficult. So why should I feel like it's something that I can't do, or something that's really, like, unachievable or, like, out of reach? Why should I feel like that when there's that's not put on other careers? Like, that's not put on, like, nursing, it's not put on teaching. So for me, I just try and have that attitude. It's as hard to be as a nurse as it is to work in my field, so why not just go for it?
So go on ahead.
I just realized the mentality in this country as well, where whenever they hear about a career or a career on your side, a career on our side as well, where it's people don't really know much about it, so they don't see it as a hard job, tough job, you know, graft job, and you're like, job's job, like, you know, and at the end of the day, you can only work as hard as the level that you want to get to as well.
Exactly. And I think it's hard as well because I think definitely just the creative industries in general, it can feel like nepotism. And even at, like, a real local, like, even at, like, a Belfast, Dublin, like, it can feel like nepotism, like, do you know, that kind of way. And some people go, oh, well, no, none of my family work in this, and, you know, how am I going to get into it? But, like, my mum's a nurse and my dad's a roofer.
Yeah.
Nearly every man in my family is a Spark or a Tyler.
Good money in Spark.
Yeah, Spark or Tyler. Nearly all the girls are, like, teachers or, like, nurses. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do think now, to be fair, I do think there's a big push in the industry to try and get more people from working class backgrounds. And there is ways, and they are trying to do that, which is to try and, you know, make sure that it's just that people's voices are heard, and that includes working class voices as well. So I do think it is getting better. I think now there's maybe not as much nepotism, maybe, as there used to be. I think now, you know, they have to, especially nations and regions wise, like BBC especially. They have to include our accents. They have to include our voices. You know, they have to do that. Yeah. So I think now there's far more, like, Northern Irish representation across media, which I think is great. I think if you can't see it, you can't be it. So I think it's great to see more representation.
I was at a few events.
Just have to slow down our accent a wee bit, don't we?
Yeah.
There was events at the Mac there a few months ago, and
no, you were saying about
the Channel 4 and ITV and all were coming over, and they were getting absolutely grilled by the media festival. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the days that, and I was there just listening, and there was people just putting up their hands and going, so when are you coming back to Belfast to do any filming? You know, are you just bringing any of that mainland money over to? And they're just like, yeah, we're coming at some stage.
Yeah.
Which is good. There is a big push, and you can see the passion for the crowd, and they're like, when he's coming back, when he is funding, when he is coming in here, who are you using us? Are you using new people, using new supplier? Nepotism you mentioned there and stuff like, so it's an interesting one, like, and it's good to see the growth as well.
Yeah, no, it is good.
I was going to say, so that journey you took then from university into masters into researcher, what was after researcher?
So I was a researcher for a good while, actually. I was a researcher I did 8 months at Strident, which is just a wee independent indie in Belfast. Then I did 6 months in BBC over in Manchester. So I worked on Rip Off Britain. I don't know if you know it. It's like Gloria Hunningford, like the 3 ladies, and they sit and they talk about like scams and consumer rights and all that.
It's important.
Exactly. And it's a really good show. It is genuinely, it's a brilliant show to work on, like, and it was really good for me personally because like when you go over, like I was the only like person from Northern Ireland like in the team, like the only person, and Rip Off didn't always include stories from Northern Ireland, even though we're within their remit. They didn't often do them. So I think one of my proudest moments from that was obviously, you know, the defective house blocking scandal, Micah scandal. We obviously they couldn't cover it and Rip Off because it is obviously a southern and it's outside the Rip Off Britain jurisdiction. But I found someone in Derry's whose house has Micah. Like his house is completely falling apart, like completely. So we ended up using him, and he was one of the first actually to be included. I think it was either in that series. It was the first Northern Irish/Irish story to be included in the whole of series like 15 of Rip Off Britain, and that was really nice. You know, being able to go over there,
that's cool.
Being the only Northern Irish voice on the production team, and then getting that Northern Irish story on like a national level. And like it wasn't handling because my producer, it was loveliest woman, turned to me and went, "Oh Darcy, do you think we can get a brick?" And I kind of looked at her and was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Can we get like a Micah brick over?" And I was like, I can look and I can see. So then I had to ring someone from like the Micah Action Group and go, "Look, do you think you could source me like a brick?" And she was like, "Do you mean like a proper big concrete brick?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I had to ring a courier and ring them and go, "Look, I know this is going to sound so odd, but can you courier a brick?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, I mean like I need you to send over a concrete brick. So then me and my boyfriend we were like having like a wee weekend away in Donegal or somewhere like that. So the girl who had the brick, no, that's not. So the brick got sent over by post to the BBC Rip Off Britain.
How much was that? Do you know?
The company paid for it. I don't know. But
undisclosed.
So they brought the brick over. No one was there in the BBC building to collect it, which is a lie. So it came all the way back to here. I was at like a wee weekend away with my boyfriend, had to meet the girl who had the brick in Donegal, take the brick, put the brick in a suitcase and bring it back with me to Manchester. Now bear in mind, there was nothing else in this suitcase but a big, massive brick in this massive cardboard box. And it was so heavy. So then when I went to the airport, I had to go up to someone, like staff, and be like, "This is going to sound really odd. I promise it's not a bomb." Like literally, I had to.
That's the worst thing you could say.
I had to
say bomb in an airport.
Yeah, I had to like lift it up. They had to like open the. They had to like put the wee rover beepy thing
That's hilarious.
on it to try, and then inevitably like we got through. That was fine. And in my head, I was sitting on a plane being like, "I'm going to have to try and get a brick from Manchester Airport." So like get off plane, fine. And I couldn't even carry the suitcase because the brick was so heavy that like it near broke the suitcase. And then the taxi man like lifted, like I got an Uber back from like from the taxi to my house when I was in Manchester. And he went to lift it and he kind of stopped himself. He went to lift it and then looked at me and was like,
What's in this?
Because it was so heavy, and I was like,
Just go a mica block.
yeah, I was like, don't ask. And then he like put it in, and then the next day had to bring it into the office, and then like literally, so I had to bring like, but even doing something like that, like I don't know what other job you can have
That's quite
that
funny.
you end up needing to do something like that.
You know, you kind of sound like Father Jack in that episode of Father Ted, you know, where he was like,
I love my brick.
Honestly, and I got really.
That's the episode title for this.
Yeah.
I love my brick.
And then they were like, "Oh, we don't know if we're going to use this." I'm like,
God.
eyes went red.
You serious?
I literally went red. Oh my! I went red. I was like, I have carted a brick through an airport, and you're going to tell me you don't want to use it now? In the end, they did use it, and it was really good. It was a really good like visual effect.
Yeah.
They crumbled it up in like their hands and
talk about it and think
yeah, it worked really well as a visual tool, but it was so difficult to like get it over like in the first place. It was an absolute handling. But that was, I really enjoyed Rip Off, and like you do mad things. Like I think by the time I had finished on Rip Off, myself, I think I had got back about £20,000
That's good.
for
That's not a rip off.
4 different people.
Wow.
4 different people.
Sorry, where were we at?
I actually can't remember now.
The brick.
We just finished.
Oh
the
yeah,
brick.
there's been the brick saga.
That was hilarious.
But yeah, but I think by the time I finished Rip Off, it was about 20,000 that we had got back, and like the stories that I had worked on that we had got back for people
class.
as well. And you saw just such like, I mean, you can't even imagine. Like there was one case which really like stuck with me, and it was there was this older couple, and they had downloaded a PDF reader. The girl had downloaded a PDF reader onto her phone. Now, there's such a thing called a RAT, which is like a remote access Trojan, which basically what happens is she downloaded this thinking it was a PDF reader. It then asked her for access to her, like, no way when you download an app, it comes up and it says, will you allow access to this, this, and this? As soon as she allowed access, it turned into malicious software. So it went through like a bug and cloned her entire phone, cloned her bank. So when she went onto her phone and looked at like Revolut, for example, or Santander or whatever the her bank account was, it put up a cloned screen that was able to see what she was able to her code.
God.
So one morning she woke up and all of her money was out of her bank account. All of it. They had gone in the middle of the night, took all the money out, had transferred over to a bank account in like Slovenia or like Lithuania or somewhere, and then when she went to your bank, they wouldn't give her it back because they went, you made these payments, because the rat basically made it look like it was coming from her phone, from her IP address, when it wasn't. And I remember when we rang her to go, they're going to give you the money back, like she was just ecstatic, like she was over the moon, and she lost a good amount of money, like she lost everything that was in that bank account. And I was lucky enough I got the chance to ring her and tell her, because I was essentially the one who had spoken to them first. There's a really good Rip-Off Britain has an inbox that anybody can email, and that it, you know, if they have a problem, if they have a consumer issue. And I was looking through it one day and I picked on this email, and it was them talking about how they thought all their money had gone, they had been to Turkey and this and that, and I was like, there's something in that. I don't know what exactly it is, but there's like something in this, like that doesn't just happen, like there has. So then contacted them, and that got the ball rolling on that story, and it was great. Like, and so it's, to me, that's when TV and media is at its finest, when things, you end up having like a boomerang effect, like, because it ends up doing something for somebody.
Yeah, you've made a difference.
Yeah, you've made a difference. And, you know, and you see that time and time again, like, you know, with the post office scandal, for example, like, people are able to see that they're not the only ones, the infected blood scandal. That's why I think, to me, that's when media is at its best, when it informs and it educates and it gives something back to people. To me, that's when media is like, it works at its absolute best, and it holds power to account. To me, that's media's main function, and should be its main function as well.
Just give me an urge to break my phone, just because I don't want people to book it.
It's like, it's public awareness, isn't it? I remember a lot of people watching the shows like you've mentioned there, and like Cowboy Builders and all, and they'd be watching it and they'd be like, that's the same people that did my house, or that happened to me. There's a story actually that happened to my mum a few years ago, actually. She's still getting messages, actually. I've told her to change her phone, but she's not. She gets messages from people saying, hi mum.
Yeah.
The hi mum.
This is how the conversation happens. Hi mum. And she's like, hello John. Sorry, lost my other number. Can you see if this is my name?
Oh no.
Yeah. How are you? She's like, okay. And then like 2 hours later, miss you, mum, love you. And then they would say stuff like that there, and then like 2 days later they'd be like, I'm a wee bit stuck with money. Can you send me mum? She sent money on to them, like.
It's terrifying though.
Thankfully it wasn't too much, but it's still enough, like, to give her a bit of a shock, bit of a shake, like, and it's really sad. And she still gets messages. She still gets messages from people, and she'd ring me up and she'd be like, John, is that you? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, do you need money? He goes, no, I'm fine, man. Yeah. And she's still getting them, like, and it's just not like, I hate them. Like, I did ethical hacking at one stage whenever I finished uni, and I just see it happening all the time, and it's people above a certain age that just, obviously, it's not to say that they don't know what they're doing, but they just, in terms of technology, they don't catch on in time to figure out it's a scam, or figure out on their phone that it's someone else's name, or, you know, a signal's been sent to someone else, or a phone call, like, and it's, and you get them messages yourself sometimes. How could anybody ever get fooled by them? But you're like, no, you know, there's people of an advanced age that do. And
but you'd be surprised, even, and to be fair, because oddly enough, the TV programs I have worked on have been about scamming and fraud. I don't know how that has managed to happen, but they all seem to be about, so like the BBC 3 one, Hunting the Catfish Crime Gang, it was unbelievable to work on, because when we first started, it was obviously about, you know, James Blake. It was about James finding out that his identity had been used and was being used to con romance fraud victims and to con people in, you know, cryptocurrency investment scams. And I think we're in this sort of false kind of, when we think of a scammer and we think of a fraudster, we think of, like, you know, someone in a bedroom doing it, right? We think of one lone individual in a bedroom doing it. It is not that. This is organised mass crime. This is scam farms that are so massive that there are thousands of people working in these buildings. It is not just one person sitting on their own computer, and that is the biggest danger when it comes to fraud.
Sometimes you see like videos on Instagram of like people hacking into there, seeing them, and then calling them up and saying, look, I can see you, like, you're wearing blah blah blah, and they're like, you see them freaking out, and then loads of people come around to their screen and they close the screen immediately. It's crazy, because
it works on floors. Because in that program, the Hunting the Catfish Crime Gang, we actually spoke to somebody who was in a scam farm, like, who was doing the scamming, who didn't want to be in that scam farm, like, because sometimes what happens is, like, the likes for romance fraud, we really simplify it, but like in romance fraud, you've got three victims. You've got the person, if an image is being stolen, you've got the person whose image is being stolen. You've then got the person that image is being used on to scam out of money, and then you've got people who are human trafficking victims who are being forced to work in these scam farms when they don't want to. So even something like romance fraud, where people think that's just one person in a room doing that, no, it's not. You've three sets of victims, then that's happening to them all at the same time. Crazy. And like, fraud accounts for 50% of crime. It's one of the biggest causes, like, it's literally up there, you know. I think because, like, we see, like, knife crime, for example, you see an effect in knife crime, right? You see the actual physical harm caused by knife crime. It's something that we can see. Graphic. It's more graphic. Because fraud happens online, it happens over the internet, we're lulled into this false sense of like, oh, it's not actually as common as that. Yes, it is. It accounts for 50% of all crime. And the likes, you know, the PSNI, the UK police force, they're not equipped to deal with it. Yeah. And it's something that we're going to see more and more and more of, because obviously we're going into a much, like, we're just continuously moving towards this online society. Yeah. So policing needs to catch up with fraud itself, because it's so, like, so for example, in a scam farm, right, you're going to have this massive building, loads of floors. You're going to have one floor or two floors which is just people finding accounts, right? They're people finding people to scam. Then you're going to have another two floors where then people have the first conversations. Then you're going to have another two floors that conversation is passed up to keep that conversation going, and then you've got like a top floor which is prolonged until the person is given all the money. So you might have,
it's like sales funnel, like,
it's essentially, and like they call them, so there is it's a really disgusting term, but it's called pig butchering, like that's what they call it. And he's, you know, because you skin the pig until there's nothing left and then you leave. That's what they call it. It's pig butchering. That's what the term it's called. You know, this isn't like, they work like a business, you know, they work like a call center. You have all these floors with all these people doing different jobs, and the fact of the matter is you've got a massive amount of victims there, even in them factories, because not everyone, some people choose to go to them factories off their own accord, but an awful lot of them are human trafficking victims that
forced.
Yeah, forced.
Very sad.
They end up getting crossed over, like, you know, they end up getting stuck in a building, their passports taken away from them, their phones taken away from them, they're under 24-hour surveillance. They can't get out. If they do try and escape, they can be sold to another scam farm with more of a bounty on their head, with more to pay off. So they'll get put into a scam farm originally and told, you need to pay off $10,000, £10,000, whatever it is. And then if they don't comply and they don't scam people, they'll go, right, we'll sell you to another scam farm and you pay us $20,000 and then you'll get out. It's scary sometimes that people don't realise how organised it is. It is not just one lone person in their bedroom. This is organised crime, and it's organised crime at the highest level with so many different players in it. But the thing about it is, if I hadn't never worked on that BBC Three documentary, I would have never known any of this.
That's crazy.
I would never known any of this. And I was very lucky that most of the time because I was like kind of lead researcher on it, you know, I talked to so many victims of romance fraud, which I would never have got to done, like never have got to done if I hadn't done that as well. And like the scary thing of like in that project, I ended up in a group with Nigerian scammers. I ended up in a Telegraph group with all these Nigerian scammers selling loads of different things. I ended up in that group because we had basically had a tip that, I'll tell you from the start. So we had, you know, what is it? Tinder Swindler from Netflix.
Yes.
Do you know Cecilia Fieldjoy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I had contacted this girl, Anne from Catch the Catfish. It's a really good actual Facebook page and website. She'll put up like people will send her images going, this person's image is being used, and she'll put it up and be like, beware, this person's image is being used, which is so good. Like we need more of that. Like we need more awareness around it. But she actually had linked up with Cecilia, or is it Cecile or Cecile? And we ended up getting them both on the programme.
Wow.
But she had told me essentially that now, do you know why you're told with fraud and you're told with scams is if they don't video call you, red flag.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Now the technology is so advanced that they can do deep fake AI videos
Say that, AI,
while it's happening. So like I was in this Nigerian scamming because she was like, this happens on Telegraph. So somehow I ended up in a Telegraph group with all these like Nigerian scammers, and I could see what they were selling. You know, they were selling profiles, they were selling accounts, they were selling these deep fake videos, they were selling the technology and how to use them. And you literally seen like their face, and then you seen like this AI face, and it looked like such a normal video. And like I think even now some of the advice is so outdated. That idea of, if you call them, you video call them and they don't answer, red flag. Well, actually, some of them now are using AI to make it look like it's a video. So how do you even begin to tell the difference? And I think now, like, it's not even, and I know some people say, it's people of a certain age, but it can happen to anybody. And this is one thing when you work on rip-off, it can happen to absolutely anybody. And actually, the biggest thing that keeps fraud from being prosecuted is people feel guilty. They feel ashamed, and they shouldn't.
That they got caught.
And they
got caught
out. That they fell into that, and they shouldn't be, because like the fact of the matter is, if you're in romance fraud, for example, the same techniques that are used on you as a romance fraud victim are the same techniques that an abuser will use when they're trying to, you know, control somebody, coercive control. They're the same techniques. They use the exact same techniques. You are under a form of abuse. Like if you're a fraud victim, a romance fraud victim, you've gone through abuse in the same way that of, you know, someone who's went through emotional abuse. You've gone through the same thing, but for some reason, we've a lot more of an attitude towards romance fraud victims, and we go, how could you do that? And you go, it's very easy. When you see the things they type and when you see the language that they use, it's very easy to see how you could. And actually, the thing about it is as well, is these, you know, in these scam farms, they'll send out 30 messages a day. It just so happens if you're the one unlucky person, maybe you're going through something in your life, maybe
you need to talk to someone. You don't mind that wee bit of conversation.
No, maybe you've lost your house, maybe you've lost a spouse, maybe you've lost a parent, maybe you're having financial trouble, and someone reaches out to you. You just need to be the one person that falls into it.
Yeah.
But they've contacted 29 other people. Yeah. It's not you they're going for. They're going out on a mass level, and then it just so happens whoever responds. So it's strange, and you wouldn't know any of this unless like you worked in it. So I do think that, and there's plenty of times where you do feel very lucky and you feel very privileged. I feel very lucky and privileged to work on the things I've worked on, because it's not something that everyone
deals with.
Yeah, or
it's
gets
fascinating.
Yeah,
it's great
gets
having
to
that
do.
awareness. It's just great for you to have that in-depth knowledge on that as well.
So, and it's weird. I remember after that program finished, I was like, because I had worked on it for so long, and you become a bit like a human kind of like sponge because. You know, your director will turn to you and go, okay, so what about this like 30th person that you've contacted? Have they got back to you? And you know, I've maybe contacted 80, 90, 100 people.
Yeah.
And they go, see that like 71st person.
That one was perfect.
Yeah. What, have they got back to you yet? And you go, who are you talking to me about? So you become this kind of sponge, and after it I went, right, I am not going to work on another scam related program.
Do you feel like you took in those people's emotions at the same time?
Yeah, it can be really...
It's a bit of baggage as well there,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it depends as well. Like, I mean, when you're on the phone with when you're on a Zoom call with somebody and they're basically going, my whole life is ruined, it's hard not to, you know, you try and be as sensitive as you can, and you try and really try not to talk, because sometimes all people need is to be listened to.
Yeah.
When you're having, and that's the same as rip off, like when people have lost an insane amount of money, you don't always need to talk. Sometimes they just need to kind of like let rip and like let go. So there's a way of doing it, but you do, like, I mean, when someone's crying at you being like, I thought I met the love of my life and now my whole life is ruined and I don't want to leave the house because I'm so ashamed, like it's going to take, and
heartbreaking.
Yeah, so whenever the program ended, a part of me, but again, here, that's the thing about it, like a part of me was like, okay, right, I'm glad this program has ended, but like it didn't end for any of the romance fraud victims. So you can almost feel this kind of like, I'm able, like, and I do think that is actually one of the harder things about working in media, especially when you work on programs such as that. You almost feel guilty that you can step away, but then people in them situation,
you're moving on, and that's still happening.
Yeah, exactly. I'm moving on from that. You know, that was a piece that we made a year ago, and it's on BBC iPlayer and whatever. But I'm so far removed from it now. But them victims I talk to aren't. They're still going through and still. So there's a kind of a weird sort of guilt. And even with the likes of Rip Off, when I left the program, I had people contacting me that went, oh, Darcy, like, do you know what's going to happen? Like, where's this going to go? I'm not on the program anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it I mean, lucky enough, but now the program I work on is much more, it's like a daily radio program, and it's a lot lighter, and it's a lot, and I think personally I needed that. Like, I don't think I could have went on and gone on
something more serious
to another really heavy project. Like, I just don't think I could have done it. So actually just having that wee kind of break away and just doing something that's a bit more lighthearted, that's a bit more fun, that's not, like, we do cover serious topics and we've covered some serious issues, but the most of it is just a really fun grassroots local community like radio program that goes on every day. And I think just personally I needed that switch up. Now don't get me wrong, like I would absolutely love to go back into the world of like TV and kind of the behind the scenes, but at the minute I think the radio job came at the right time because it just allowed me just to kind of, because you do take it on, like, I mean, you kind of have to, like, I don't think you'd be human if it didn't affect you a wee bit by the end of it.
What radio station are you at the moment?
BBC Radio Foyle.
Derry, is it?
Yep.
Very good. How did you get into that?
I'd done radio work when I was at uni, and again really enjoyed it, but just so happened that the path kind of took me more towards TV. So then I seen that come up, and it was an assistant content producer, and I was like, I don't know if I'm chancing my arm a wee bit at applying for this, because again, I hadn't really worked in radio. It is a bit more of a senior position because you're essentially second in command from the producer. So it's all responsibility. So I was like, I'll just apply to it anyway. Like, if I don't get an interview, no big deal. If I get an interview, great. So then I got the interview and finished the interview, and I went, okay, I think that went fairly well. Again, still kind of being like, oh, like, there might be someone else who's more experienced. She's more experienced in radio, but lucky enough, they decided to give me the job. So that was really good. So yeah, it just, I haven't seen the job online and applied to it. I was already in BBC, so it was already a bit easier to kind of make the crossover.
Yeah.
Obviously kind of between departments essentially. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed living in Manchester, but I'd always wanted, the entire time I lived there, like I wanted to come home. And for me personally, it's just really important for me to build a career and have a career here. I get why people go over to England. I understand why people, want to do that. It is easier. Like, there's no doubt it's easier. There's more opportunities.
Yeah.
But just for me personally, I want a career here and I want to build it here. So for me, it was really important to kind of get myself back and situated back in with them contacts that I had already in the industry, as well. Like, it's going to, like, it's you either come back and you accept, and it might take you slightly longer to get to where you want to be, or you stay over in England and you maybe get there a bit quicker. For me personally, I just kind of had to think more about myself and kind of more about what I wanted. And for me personally, it was a no-brainer. It was like, come home and make a career here, because I was happier here. I mean, like, my boyfriend's here, like all that type of stuff. So in the end, that's why I decided to move back. Not everyone does. There are brilliant opportunities over in England, but just for me personally, I was like, what's the point of being over there and getting these great opportunities, but also just being genuinely not very happy?
I've said it before, actually. It's we've got a pile of listeners overseas, Australia and all around the place, Canada and all. And I always, personally, for me, I'm really obviously happy to be in my hometown community.
He loves Marfell.
I do love Marfell. But I'm very grateful that I can build a career here, can build a happy life close to my home, close to my family. And I do have this sense of sadness that a lot of people feel that there's no opportunities here. Even though like they're maybe searching for something else that's not in this country. And that's, I think, where I'm like, that's sad that they can't build the life that they want or career they want in this country close to their family. Yeah. And I was just making that point that it's sad that is the case sometimes, because you hear about people just mass exodus in Ireland and all these countries over to Australia and Canada and New Zealand and all, and it is kind of sad in that sense.
I think it's good for people to do a bit of traveling, but I mean,
100%.
Home's home. Like, family's very important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've just realized that recently, like that this country's class. Whenever it's like this, whenever there's a slight bit of sun, I really enjoy. Like, there's brilliant hikes here. We've got beautiful beaches. We got, like, the people are fantastic.
But as humans, though, like, there's a connection.
There is
to your tribe, to your family.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's a happiness that comes with that. There's a warmth that comes to that.
Yeah.
I think people here are just built differently. Like, and I don't, and it's really hard to put it into words how, but they just are. Like, whenever I was over in England, I just noticed it. I was like, it's not necessarily that people weren't as friendly, but like they just weren't as friendly. Do you know what I mean? Like, just being over there, I was like, I just missed being at home, and then I did feel like, I won't even lie, when I was over in Manchester, I felt like the odd one out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like the odd one out. I had a strong, thick accent that very few ones seem to be able to understand. And then just in general, like, I remember, I worked with a girl, Pip, who absolutely loved, like, she was like, I was really glad I worked with her in the end, because, like, again, she really helped me through living in Manchester, and she's brilliant. Like, but I remember she, like, went to pick up a cup of tea, and she was like, do you want me to microwave that for you? And I know, this is the thing, they microwave tea over in England. And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, do you want me to microwave it? And I was like, huh? And she's like, yeah. Is that
when you stopped being friends?
This became like the whole like time I was over in Manchester, the amount of like the back and forth between me and Pip in the best way possible. Like, we would just all the time. I remember there was another time I had turned around to someone in, what was I saying? Charity. I was saying the word charity, like, like a charity that you donate to. And she genuinely thought I said chariot. Yeah. And then she like looked like she could not understand and we were talking about a charity before. I was like, we're literally talking about a charity. Like, what else do you think I'm saying? And then she like she showed me this video one day, and it was like obviously someone from here saying mayor, mirror, and mayor.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and then I said the word mirror, and she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, the thing you look at yourself in. Like, what else do you think I could be talking about? So even over in Manchester, like, I felt different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did. There's no point hiding it. Like, and kind of now I'm back home and I'm working where I'm working, I feel so much happier. Like, I feel so much more kind of like, oh, like I'm people get me here. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to say Manchester, because I really enjoyed living in Manchester, and I really enjoyed working in Manchester, city. And I had a great team. But it is like when you're kind of over there and you're sort of like the odd one out, you do feel it a wee bit, I think.
A wee bit of a pullback.
Yeah.
Pull back to your own roots.
100%.
Very nice. I was going to say there, what's your day-to-day like in radio?
So normally, so my shifts are I actually really like my shifts because I do like 8 to 4 on a Monday to Friday, and then I get weekends off. It's great. It's because because the program I work on is a daily program, so we do 12 to 1:30. So my job in the morning is basically to go in, make sure we have guests, make sure we have content, make sure that, you know, people are aware they're coming in, because sometimes you ring people and you go, oh, you're in for the show today, and they go, what? And you go, yeah, the show, and they're like, oh no, that's fine. And then sometimes you have to like rearrange them or whatever. So it's just making sure that everyone knows they're there as well. And then it's sitting, so like the producer sits here, I sit here, and like the sound engineer sits here, and then like the host, it's the Mark Patterson show, Mark sits with the glass over and sits kind of over the glass, behind the glass even. And then my job when the show is actually happening is just to make sure guests are seated, that if I need to ring somebody, that they're rang, that sort of thing. And then the end of the basically after the show, it's the same thing. It's to make sure there's content for the next day. And then sometimes I go out and record like radio packages, which I really love doing, because then I get to come back to the office and edit it and put my own spin on it as well. So I get to kind of produce content as well.
Fun.
It is really good.
Any jobs going?
I'll keep you updated. But yeah, it's really good. Like, it's really, you get moments where like there was not that long ago that obviously BBC Sounds, everything we record goes up in BBC Sounds, and we have a wee section of the show called 20 Minutes with Mark Patterson. So we've our first hour of the show, and then it's divided, and then you've got 20 minutes, and went on BBC Sounds, and like it was like 20 Minutes with Mark Patterson, BBC Sounds, Darcy Taylor with like a feature report on, like, it was a Gaelic mothers and others, like Gaelic team. But it was just a moment where I went, oh my God, like my name's on BBC Sounds. And, you know, and you have them wee moments where like you kind of go, oh, am I doing the right thing? Like, is this right? Like, and then you have moments like that and you go, yeah, no, I'm doing the right thing. So yeah, you have moments like that you kind of sort of wee pinch me moments. Like, you know, even with the BBC Three thing, whenever I watched it and like, you know, your name comes up at the end, you're like, oh my God, my name's on BBC Three. Like a channel that I loved watching growing up. It's, you know, you see your name, you do have moments like that are just real, like, pinch me moments, you know.
Class. Very good. And
you would be good at that, John. You should jump career.
I don't know.
You have to keep your opinion.
Don't listen to my first 5 episodes. Or up until episode 40 as well. No, brilliant. I was going to say there, Rose of Tralee.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, so it kind of happened because of the Mark Patterson show. So Anya Morrison, who was the 2022 Derry Rose, had emailed into us and went, oh, look, I'm looking to get a bit of attention. Like, the selection night is coming up. Can I come on the show? So I rang Anya and I was just chatting to her, because I have to do like research calls with people. And, you know, sometimes they're really like simple calls just to tell me about the event or whatever. Sometimes I'm asking people real intense questions. Like, so tell me what primary school you went to. Tell me what secondary school you went to. Are you married? Do you have kids? Tell me about your first, like, kind of like you're doing with me right now. Like, do you know what I mean? And it varies, obviously, them type of calls. But I was just asking Anya about her experience in the Rose and all that. And just the way she was talking about it, I was like, this actually seems like it would genuinely be very good fun more than anything else. And I think it's just because nearly everything I've done has been like in the background. It's just where I probably feel a bit more comfortable. And the Rose was sort of like, it was kind of a way to push me outside of my comfort zone. And I was like, right, I'm kind of at that stage now in my life where, you know, as a woman, you kind of maybe start to think more about like kids and family, and you kind of just, your mindset sort of changes. And I was kind of like, right, that's becoming a bit more important to me. So let's do something this year that's just kind of a bit like out there and like a bit mad. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Before all the rest, that, like, obviously I still really care about my career and like I want a really good career, but again, having, you know, a family and having kids, things are important to me personally. And I was like, right, hopefully, you know, that could end up happening sooner rather than later, but whatever. And I was kind of like, right, let's just do something that's just for me. Like, that's for nobody else. That is just for me.
Brilliant.
So then Anya had then come on the show, and it was actually my producer, David, and Laura, who was another ACP in the program, that were like, oh, you should like apply for that. And I was like, get away. I was like, what are you talking about? So then I came home and I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, it sounds like good fun. Like, but I also gave me a bit of a heart attack, 'cause again, it's not necessarily my natural disposition to put myself, like, even this I find really odd, because I'm so used to being like where you two are sitting, that even something like this feels really like odd to me. But yeah, so then I went, you know what, Darcy, just apply. Like, what's the end of the world? Like, they either tell you no or you don't get it. Like, whatever. It's not the end of the world. So then I applied. Didn't tell anybody. The only person I told was my boyfriend. And he was a bit like, it's just so out of left field. And I was like, I know. The poor man was like, what on earth? And I was like, I know. So then I didn't tell my man that until I got the email through to say, oh, you know, we're going to do a selection night and we want you to take part. So I think this was like on the Monday I got that email, and I told my mum and dad and went, oh, by the way, I've applied for the Rose of Tralee. The selection night is on Saturday. You need to get tickets. And then on the Wednesday night, they were like, oh, can we tell people? And I was like, no. I was like, under no circumstances. I was like,
are you allowed to tell people?
I was allowed to, but I just didn't want anybody to know because I was so kind of like, oh, like what if I go and like they don't say my name and then everyone knows that I went for it? Like it was just silly things like that, which it doesn't matter. Like the selection is just a great experience anyway. But so then on the Wednesday we had this group chat of all the girls who were going to do the selection night. And Elaine, who is like the organizer for every county and every rose essentially has like a rose centre. So like you've got like a Derry Rose Centre and a Donegal Rose Centre, and they're the ones who take care of their selection nights. And she typed in and went, oh, there's like a prize for best banner. And I was like, people are bringing banners? I was like, and then in my head I went, how many people are people bringing? So then I went down to my mum and dad and I was like, oh, by the way, like, they've got a best banner competition. And then my dad was like, the whole friggin' Chantalo's gonna bring everybody. And then I was like, and then actually on the Wednesday I saw they had put up these Facebook posts on the Derry Rose of Tralee page that had my like big fat head on it that basically went, oh, like, you know, you're going to be doing like, you know. And I was like, right, well, there's no point, it's on social media, there's no point in me hiding it. So I went to my mum and dad and went, right, okay, you can like tell people. And then my mum's like, right, we'll make a banner. And I was like, okay. And then my granny, I didn't even tell, like my granny loves the Rose, like she loves the Rose of Tralee and she's obsessed with that, like loves him. And I didn't even tell her I was doing it. So I rang her again. This all happened on like the Wednesday. I rang my granny and went, oh, by the way, like I'm gonna go for Rose of Tralee.
She buzzing.
But then she went, I was like, it's on Saturday. And she went, oh, next Saturday. And I went, oh no, this Saturday. So like literally it was so shit. Like I didn't tell anybody until I absolutely had to. So then we all ended up going down to the selection night. Brilliant. Like my boyfriend was there, like a lot of my family were there, my best friend Nicole was there
with their
as
banner.
Well. With this banner was huge, and I near died. No one told me. No one told me how big this banner was going to be. Bear in mind when they said, oh, Darcy, we've got you a banner, I just imagined maybe like, yeah, I don't know what.
It's a poster.
I thought a poster. There we go. I thought a poster. And then all of a sudden, like I'm on like the selection, you know, the stage for the selection night, and I see it being unrolled, and it kind of just keeps on rolling, and I'm like, how big is it? And it was massive. Like it covered about 5 people's heads. It was humongous. And I think it was actually is it Eugene O'Kerr? I think he did the sign for us. Kerr sign.
Kerr sign.
Yeah. In Marfell. So he was obsessed. He was telling my dad about it. Like he was obsessed with it. Like he loves the Rose of Tralee. Like loves it. So yeah, look, people have been amazing as well. Like they do absolutely love it. So yes, and then I applied for that. And then the actual selection day for the Rose of Tralee, like the individual selection days, are actually just really fun. Like they're actually really good crack. So you go in and you have like a 1-to-1 interview with like 3 judges. They're the ones who decide like later that night who's going to like get chosen to represent Derry. So they did that, and then
what sort of questions did they ask you?
So they were asking kind of just about yourself, like, you know, like what are you into? What are your hobbies?
Potato bread, soda bread.
Yeah, exactly. Real intense questions, you know, really trying to get into, you know, the psyche. But yeah, so, and it was just like kind of, you know, why do you want to represent? Like, why do you think you'd be good at it? Like, you know, how do you want to represent the county and the city? Because like, obviously bear in mind with Derry, like it's kind of scary when you think about it. Like, it's not just, it's everyone in Derry. So you kind of are representing everybody, which feels a bit kind of, when you think about it, you're like, oh no. So I don't really, you know, sometimes we're not thinking about it, but yeah, so they ask you them type of questions, and then you do like a debate. So you're all the girls sit in a room together and you like debate like a certain topic. So I think ours was about Kate Middleton, like, you know, why she had the whole like Photoshop kind of thing happen. It was about that, and whether or not, like, you know, was the backlash justified or like that kind of thing. And then the other one we had was Rose of Tralee outdated. That was a second question that we had as well. So then you did that, and then you had your actual, so then you went and you got food, and then you got ready, and then you had your actual stage night.
So I take it the debate was just yuns?
Yeah. It was just to see, I think, how you like interacted with each other. Now, I was on the debate team in school, so like I was having a great time. Absolutely great. Loved it. I genuinely love debating. Call me a geek, but I do. So then once we had done that, then also you had your stage night, and you had, I think that is really just to see how to react on stage, because I'm trying not to think about the stage night too much, because I don't want to freak myself out. And actually, like, I think sometimes people think of the Rose of Tralee and they think, oh, like, you know, they only think about the TV part of it, but the fact, like, that's like 20% of the Rose of Tralee, because we spend 5 days touring first. So we start, I can't actually remember where we start from, but we then go around like all, like, you know, I think I ended up going most of the counties, and you know, you stay in hotels, you meet people, like, you know, it's you really ingrain yourself or immerse yourself into the areas that you're going. So you do that for 5 days. Then you've got Tralee for 4 days, and 2 of them days aren't spent on the TV. Like, they're just spent in Tralee enjoying the festival. So actually the TV portion of the Rose of Tralee is tiny. Like, it's so small. So I'm just trying not really to think about that too much. I'm just trying to more just enjoy the experience of it, I think. And if I win, great. But, you know, I don't think there's any point of thinking about winning, because I think you're going to ruin it for yourself if you do that.
No, 100%. You just need to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. And then see the stage for the selection. What did they ask you in that? What did that consist of? So
it kind of in the interview, like kind of in the same way to sort of interview, like the boy who was hosting the Derry selection, I kind of came to each of us individually and went, right, you've wrote this on your application, what do you want to talk about? And it was essentially the same as what I had spoken to the 3 judges about earlier that day.
Just speaking it to the crowd.
Just speaking into the crowd, and all that sort of stuff, and kind of asking the same questions you have been asking, really, as well. And I think that is the one thing about the Rose of Tralee. Like, I understand why some people would assume, or some people maybe look at something like the Rose of Tralee and go, oh, like, it's outdated, it's old fashioned, what, like that kind of thing. But actually, like, there's very few places and there's very few events that, in my opinion, puts women like front and center. Like, at the Rose of Tralee stage, your achievements are celebrated.
It's all about the roses.
Who you are as a person is celebrated. Your qualities are celebrated. What makes you yourself is celebrated. And I don't think there's not, for women anyway, I don't know if there's an awful lot of places left that, you know, that still happens. So I think for me, like, and even that night, like the selection night in Derry, everyone, like, all the girls were so supportive. It was amazing. Like, they were all, and I was the most I was so nervous, like, to the point that, like, I had a glass of water in my hand, and my hand was like, and the water was going, I was so nervous. And it was, if them girls hadn't like hyped me up, and like, I don't think I would have made it on that stage. I just don't think I would have done it, because it was the girls that were beside me that went, no, Darcy, like, you've got this, go for it. If it wasn't for them, I actually don't think I would have gotten the stage. So it's such an uplifting environment. And every single person, there is not one and I've gone to quite a few selection events apart from mine, quite a few nights. I haven't spoke to anyone who has said anything bad about it. They all go, it's amazing. You're going to have so much fun. You're going to make so many new friends. And it's hard to make friends in your 20s. It's genuinely, it's really difficult. And like, it's really hard in general. So it's a space where women uplift one another. And I don't think anything about that could ever be outdated. That's just my personal opinion on it. Like.
Yeah, I was doing, morning, Jude. I was doing a bit of research the last couple of days just on it. I was really, really interested. And what I found was there's this like real strong community sense about it, where, like you said about your granny, my granny used to watch it. I remember watching it with her years ago, and it seems, and I've watched a few of the YouTube videos, I watched it over the years, but then recently I've seen this like unspoilt sort of cultural thing around it, where you have these events now, pageantry and different, you know, talent shows or whatever, but Rose of Tralee seems to have like kept this like heart behind it. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, if you have researched it, but there seems to be this like real community spirit, because you go down to these towns and villages, as you say, and everybody's just like, wow, this is amazing. The Roses are here, and they've got an opportunity to, as you say, show off who they are, what they're about, and I don't know. There is just some sort of like real nice way where they're not challenging you. They're not challenging you.
No,
just like,
it's just be you.
Just be yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. And actually, for me, like personally, places like Marfelt or Bellaghy or you don't see them very often. Like they're not places that are mentioned very often. And if we are mentioned, normally it's in a negative context.
Yeah.
And especially if the North is mentioned, it's normally in a negative context. Yeah. And I think Rose of Tralee is so brilliant I can speak positively about the North of Ireland, about being from the North of Ireland, and I can speak about it in a really positive light, because it is really, I love living here, I love being from here, and to me, I'm just as Irish, don't want to get too political, I'm just as Irish as anybody else, and I celebrate that part of my Irish identity, because I am as Irish as anyone else that's born on this island. So for me to be able to go and represent this part of the island in Rose of Tralee, I think is brilliant. And like I say, it's a celebration of your achievements, because we're all so varied. Like there's friggin' like NASA scientists, like there's people who, like one of the girls is going to be a historian, like we've got nurses, we've got doctors, we've got teachers, we've got lawyers. Like it's so many women from so many different like walks and realms of life, and we're all celebrating, and not even ourselves, it's one another. We're celebrating one another, and we're celebrating one another's achievements, and we're lifting each other up. And just personal opinion, I don't understand, because in my brain, I'm an educated woman. Like, I've got 2 degrees under my belt. Like, I'm not thick. Like, I've got a brain cell and more than a few. If I want to make a decision to do this, it's my decision to do this. So I don't understand why it's someone else feels they have a right to tear me down for that.
Have you felt that?
No, I've been very lucky. Everyone has been really supportive just in general, but I just have a feeling that when it comes to the actual thing, after it's done, you see all the articles asking, is it outdated, is it this and is it that? And in my head, women in general, like, we're multifaceted. Like, we are multifaceted individuals. Like, I can want a career, but I can also want a family. You know what I mean? I can love dresses, and I can love makeup, and I can love hair, but I can also be a massive geek and friggin' have my head in a book, like, for weeks on end if I want. Like, that's what's good about the Rose of Tralee. We're showing ourselves, we're showing the multifaceted nature of who we are. And I don't think it's for anybody I just don't think it's for anyone to say, you're not the right type of woman. You need to be doing this to be the right type of woman. You don't have a right to tell me what type of woman I am. And that doesn't matter. Like, we should be uplifting each other's choices. We should be uplifting one another. And I don't necessarily think it's fair to kind of look at the girls who do the Rose of Tralee and go, oh, why would you do that?
Yeah. Sorry, go on ahead.
No, go on ahead.
That's what I think I love about you going to do it, is because what you just said before was like, this is completely out of my comfort.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, I'd never even think about doing this, and then you just went for it.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that impresses me the most about it. Like, whenever people go out of their comfort zones to do things like that, that's when you get the best out of life, I think, in general.
Exactly. And do you know, even now, I haven't even got to Tralee, I haven't even done the festival, but even now, when I walk into a room, I can feel myself almost kind of...
yeah.
You know, I can feel myself almost giving myself permission to take up more space and to take up more room. And I don't know if that is something that I would have done before the Rose of Tralee. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I would have kind of literally stood up straighter and kind of went in and went, right, I'm here, I'm going to take up the room.
Yeah.
And that's kind of only after being selected. Like, I haven't even done the actual thing yet. And like, even eye contact, like when I was younger and in secondary school, and even up until a few years ago, I really struggled to maintain eye contact with people. Like, I really, really struggled, and I found it really difficult. But now, sort of doing Rose of Tralee, you're kind of forced to look at people. You're forced to make eye contact. And even that, just walking taller, taking up space in a room, making eye contact with people, I feel better at doing that now. And, I was selected back in March, so I can see it having a positive impact on me. I think a good rule in life is, unless you've experienced it, you probably shouldn't slag it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
I would definitely agree. I was going to say there, see if the only thing someone can say about the Rose of Tralee is that it's outdated every year.
Yep.
There's not much to say about it. You know, if that's the only news story, because that's what I feel, that's the only thing that I found online. Like every article, well, every shit article was mentioning, oh, is it outdated? It's not outdated. Like I personally didn't know much about it whenever we invited you on, but I thought that's exciting. My granny used to watch it. I used to watch a wee bit when I was younger. It's an amazing festival down south. I'm going to research it a wee bit. And then whenever I did, I was like, this is class.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go. I want to go down the Rose of Tralee. Like,
I was going to say, the festival looks wild crack.
Everyone looks amazing. It's amazing. And the thing about it is, as well, is, you know, for people who want to slag it off and say it's outdated, come and speak to the actual girls who have done it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, come and speak to the girls who have done it. If us girls are the ones turning around and going, yeah, it's outdated, then yeah, that probably should be listened to. But I have gone to so many selection nights, and I've spoke to so many people who have been involved in the Rose of Tralee, and they all say it's amazing. And if they're all telling me it's amazing, then to me, I don't see why it should be stopped or why it should be changed. And also, like, to be fair to the Rose of Tralee, like, unmarried, I think it was, they changed it so that, was it that
rule changes for mothers and
yes, that's right,
unmarried ladies.
Yeah, so they're moving with the times, and you know, they are trying to modernize as well. But yeah, I think if you haven't experienced it, you shouldn't slag it off. Experience it first, and then if you want to have your opinion, fair enough.
Enjoy it for what it is in front of you, and leave that at the door.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I completely agree with you. I was going to say, and I kind of always ask everybody this on the podcast, if someone comes...
Are you finishing off?
Why, you have another question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I just did a wee tiny bit of research, not near enough as you. You did a great job. Okay. But on the website, they had this thing about escorts and their training.
Yeah.
And one of the parts of their training is they had to learn how to iron. I just thought it was hilarious.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And I was like,
you should apply to be an escort.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That could be my downfall. I'm a terrible ironer.
Teach you to iron.
Iron's really difficult. Iron a good shirt, like that's tricky. But I just thought that was brilliant. That was so funny.
The escorts are with you, I think, pretty much 24/7.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, they go.
Do you know who you're?
So I won't find out about whoever my escort is until like a couple days before we actually go like on the tour. But they do, like, they spend, because like the thing about it is
they're supposed to hype you up and stuff too, aren't they?
They're kind of meant to hype you up. They're meant to make sure that you are where you're meant to be, because obviously when you maybe go to like Tralee, people just love the roses, and
so they're probably trying to drag you everywhere.
Make sure that
pulling you and come in here and do this.
Come in here and do this as well. And yeah, they're really, and I think from what I've heard, like, they do try personality wise to like match you up with someone who kind of would suit you in personality. And I do genuinely think they try, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them, so like you would hope that you would like them, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them as well. So, and like as well, like the escorts, like they seem to have a ball at it, like, and then I think actually, I don't know if this is true, but I think actually the Roses decide who the escort of the year is.
Is it Yunza judge that?
It's us basically that decide who it is, but the boys, I think, have just as much crack doing it as
they had a boot camp apparently as well.
Yeah,
it looked hard.
It did. I don't think I could do it personally.
You're too old for it.
Why is there an age cap?
It's 29.
Is there?
I looked it up. I was actually going to say
you're like I was going to say, is there a height requirement, because then I'm screwed.
Woody Harrelson lookalike. Anyway, Darcy, I was going to say, anybody that comes on the podcast, we usually mention it. So if anybody came to meet you today, or you're down in Tralee, or you're in these villages and they're in your presence and they get a chat with you, how do you want them feeling leaving? How do you want them, like that Darcy Taylor one was, how do you want to be perceived?
It's hard, isn't it? Because you never know. It's going to get very philosophical, but
nobody wants to talk about themselves, but
not even. But you never know how you're received, do you? Like you only have an idea of how you're received. Like you don't actually know.
Very true.
You know. I don't know. I think I would just hope that people would kind of walk away and go, oh, like, she listens, like, pause. I actually don't know. I think it's really hard, because I think all you can be is yourself, and like you just kind of have the hope that people like that, and that they enjoy that as well. But I mean, to be fair, if people walk away and go, "Oh, she's lovely," I'll take that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, if people,
it's the lovely girl competition.
Exactly. So if people walk away and go, "Oh, she's lovely," I'm like, winning. I've done it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and I think one thing as well about Rose of Tralee is, I think sometimes because I think almost sometimes it can kind of be lumped into kind of the same arena as like talent kind of TV shows. But again, like, that is such a tiny little aspect of it that if you wanted to become famous, there's better ways to do it than Rose of Tralee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Easier.
If you wanted to be famous, there's better ways to do it and there's easier ways to do it. And it's not about that. And I think that is just something that I would really want people to know, is that, like, it's so much about the experience of the Rose of Tralee. Like, it's the build up, like, you know, the 9 days that you're with these girls for 24/7. Like, there's 32 of us. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be with these girls for 20, like, until
that's gonna be some bonding.
Tralee, and like you end up sharing a room with somebody, like you're in a coach for most of the time, with all these other girls. So it's really about that. Like, it's the positive side of Tralee, and like I really do hope anyone listening would be able to see just how positive it is, because it's brilliant. And for someone like me who again found it so difficult kind of growing up, being as shy as I was, to do something like this, it is outside my comfort zone. But even now, I feel more confident as a person. And that's after, you know, I only got selected in March, and I already feel having like a positive impact on me. And I just think in general, I just want people to be able to take away that it's a really positive thing. And I do hope it keeps going. Do you know what I mean? Like, and other girls get to experience this. And I'm excited. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm excited.
Well, we wish you well.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you compete.
Let's go.
Do you know Derry has never won it?
Really?
Derry, yeah.
This is our year.
This is our year.
Derry
Let's go.
has never won it. So Belfast has won it a few times, and there was like an Ulster Rose, and I think that might have been won a few times. But poor Derry has never had a look in before.
Derry's.
Is there an Antrim Rose and a Belfast?
So the way it actually works is it's every 2 years. So I'm the Derry Rose now until 2026. And then so like Derry, so I'm also, fun fact, I'm the only Northern Rose in the whole entire thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Pressure. Because they only go through certain counties every 2 years. So for example, in 2020, I think it was Antrim, maybe. So like they just do it every 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, because basically what would happen originally is they might have like 60 girls from, like, you know, once you take all the counties and you take all the internationals, they would all go down to Tralee, and it is a little bit expensive to do, to be fair. You would all go down to Tralee, and then at Tralee they would go, right, you're out. So like you spent all the money on your stage dress and all this. So they've decided to do this to make it a lot more fair, which is just the 32 that are picked, or the 32 that are going down to Tralee, and that's it. So it is more fair. Like,
yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, so because of that, I am the only Northern Rose in the entire thing. So
It's meant to be.
We do wish you well.
Thank you.
We'll ring care signs up and get a bigger
I
banner.
actually want that sign. I'm going to put it up on the podcast.
And I have to say, like, the local businesses have been amazing, and the people as well. Like, you know, like we've got Flax, obviously Bellaghy Pharmacy, as well. Like, just so many that I can't even name on the top of my head. Have been amazing. And it's so mad as well, because like my dad will just be like walking down the street sometimes, and just a random person that he knows will stop him and go, "The Rose thing is brilliant, isn't it?" And I'm like, "How do you know?" I'm like, "How do you even know about this?"
Brilliant.
And so even that can be like a bit mad sometimes, like just people coming up to my mom and dad. I did not realize how big it was until I've done it. I just never thought it was as big as it was. Brilliant. Which to me just shows like the kind of, you know, the longevity of it, and, you know, people's love of it is the reason it's going for so long. But yeah, it's definitely a bit mad when people see you and go, "Oh,
well, we want you to win."
Derry Rose.
We want you to win after that interview. It was
Definitely.
great crack. But thank you very much, Darcy, for coming. Thank you to our 3,500 listeners, watchers, followers, whatever there is. We'll be back. Oh, we're taking a bit of a break actually, for a few weeks, for listeners and followers. We have the local Chef Showdown coming up. We're filming a local master chef in a local school. And we're filming it, and we're inviting competitors from all over Mid-Ulster to come and compete in a master chef style show, and it's going to be released on YouTube.
That's actually sick.
Yeah,
That's cool. What a cool.
And we're taking a bit of time off for it. We're taking maybe probably about a month off from the podcasting. But yes, that's just for everybody because people are like, wait, where's the podcast at? Whenever we skip a week, so
to be fair, I love MasterChef.
Yeah,
I'm not like I can kind like the first time I cooked for my long-suffering boyfriend.
What'd you make him?
Well, see, the thing is, I bought the wrong part of the chicken.
You what?
I bought the wrong part of the chicken.
What did you buy?
I had bought chicken thighs, but I didn't. I had bought like the fattier, like harder to cook. Is it like the chicken something? Obviously. But yeah, so I made it and I thought I was cooking chicken thighs and I wasn't. So I went to serve it to him and he went in like this and he was literally through like a few like forkfuls and I kind of looked at his plate and went, that looks very pink.
Oh no.
And yeah, and then I looked at him and went, I think I might have cooked, and I did it. I ended up cooking the wrong part of chicken.
You're definitely not into it.
No,
so,
I don't think.
But I'm better now. I'm actually better. This was like 3 years ago. I have improved. I'm a less liability to get people food poisoning.
You stick to the Rose of Tralee.
Yeah,
you're not entering our competition. Right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you.
Did you good time, Fergal?
Oh, great time.
Good time, Jude. Darcy, good time.
Yeah,
I had
thank
a
you very
fantastic
much.
time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Let's cue the ball on.
Yes, go.
Woo.
That was awesome.
Fantastic.
And